In the state of Florida, this one's housed here in Orange County. It is a state asset, but it is operated by Orange County personnel. Just like there's one in Hillsborough County, it's a state asset, it's operated by Hillsborough County personnel. We have a 100-foot crank up Illumitower tower. We can go up to about 60 feet. Anything above that, we have to guy wire it. They are making them now guyless, where you can run them up a full 100 feet. And I would give my left arm to have one of those because I hate guy wiring this thing.
Oh, yeah.
It rarely goes over 60 feet high. Inside the radio box, and I don't have the keys to the radio box, so I'd open that up for you. We have 3 repeaters. We have a 7,800 megahertz repeater, a VHF, and a UHF repeater. All of the repeaters are set to NIFOG, to the National Interoperability frequencies. Each mark unit in the state, so they're set. We can't change the frequencies without hooking up to a computer and physically going in and doing it. Each unit around the state is set to a different set of frequencies. So even if we're on top of each other, we don't run the risk of heterodyning or having problems with each other. We can be used for pre-planned events like this. This is a perfect example of being called in to deploy for a pre-planned event. Handcation requested the use of it for their talking, or for their AM channel antenna, and for I don't even know what the hell's all on that thing right now. I wasn't here when they set it up. But our primary thing is we get sent out during disasters. So like Hurricane Idalia, we got sent out. Initially, we will roll out usually as part of the urban search and rescue teams, and we will supplement the urban search and rescue teams. When we went to Hurricane Ian, we literally, almost like that little antenna there is set up, we strapped a unicorn antenna to it, fired the repeater up, and we followed the USAR team. And wherever they went, we went and increased theirs. If we had time, we would just throw the antenna up, the tower up, just to get it in the air a little bit. It actually worked out really good too, because we've got an aircraft warning light, and one of the places they were searching was Pine Island, and they had to go out in boats, and it was pitch black, no power, no lights, and they were having a hard time finding their way back to the dock.
Wow.
Well, we were parked right at the dock. So I got on the radio and told him, I said, follow the aircraft beacon. Hurricane, once we're done with that initial kind of push for search and rescue, we go in with the Florida Comms unit, and we'll start helping to supplement or rebuild damaged infrastructure. Again, using Pine Island as an example. Pine Island, if you're not familiar with where Pine Island is, Pine Island sits basically right off the coast of Fort Myers. It's about a 15-mile long by about a 6-mile wide island, 5-mile wide island. They had 0 communications on the island, and the causeway to the bridge to get onto the island had been completely washed out. You couldn't get any vehicles over or back. So what we ended up doing is we set up 3 mark units on the land side from Pine Island, and we used those to cut the island into zones. So our unit was covering the middle part of the island. So basically, as search teams would move south through the island, they would just have to change frequencies as they got out of zone to pick up the next tower. What we ended up finding out, actually we were the southernmost, what we ended up finding out is we didn't need the middle tower, because the tower on the north end and the tower on the south end was enough to cover. We weren't, there was no obstructions. We were sitting on the water, so we're broadcasting directly across the water. Hurricane Idalia, this unit got sent, Hamilton County Fire Rescue. One of their towers got blown down in the storm, so it was completely on the ground. They brought us in, put antennas up on our tower, hooked our tower into their repeater system, which this was one of those prime examples of, hey, my cousin Bubba the plumber plays with CB radios, I'll have him set up our comms. Because when we got to their repeater site, there was like adapter on adapter on adapter on it. There was like a string of adapters this long.
Lord.
Stuff's electrical taped together. So we literally gutted all of that.
Typical ham radio install.
No.
You haven't been in my house.
Not even close. But what we ended up doing is putting antennas on our tower, running our tower up to 100 feet, and hooking into their repeater system to get them back on the air on that end of the county. Typically it will roll out. With four. Typically it'll roll out with four personnel on it. Hey, how you doing?
You got to point at northeast.
Oh, yeah. Typically it'll roll out with a 4-man crew. On top of the tower itself, we also have a radio cache. So we have in total, we've got about 150 radios that we can distribute. About 40 of those are tri-band radios, so they cover VHF, UHF, 7/800. So sometimes it's just easier to get on site, and it's a case of your agency and your agency's radios don't talk to each other. So sometimes it's just easier to go, here's a radio that'll talk to each other.
I like that rotor.
We do also have, I will tell you, that's not our, we do also have,
Northeast is that way.
Yeah, more that way.
just keep walking in circles, I'll tell you when it's good.
Bring it around. Northwest.
It was about an hour.
North.
We do also have an ACUM, so we do have gateway capability. So we can patch 700 VHF or UHF, or we do have the ability to patch also if we need to do that. That's usually kind of down on the list of options because it's a pain in the neck. And if you set up a gateway, if you set up a patch, somebody's got to babysit that patch, and we're not set up in the most in the best way to do a patch, because when we do a patch we have to use portable radios, and portable radios are not the best because now you got to worry about keeping them charged and all that kind of stuff. So
Is it 60 foot?
it's probably set about 60 foot now. It'll go to 100. But 100 we have to guy wire.
That's not the heavy duty one, is it? Because I got the 50. That's the one from Luma Tower.
This is the Luma Tower.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But that's not the HDX. That's not the heavy duty
No,
one.
the heavy duty ones we're coming out with now don't have to be guyed.
Right, that's what I got. I just got one from them.
Yeah, no, this one still has to be guyed.
Okay.
And anything above 60 feet.
Now, what size beam can you put up there?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that because we don't run beams on it.
Oh,
This all of the antennas that are on here right now were put on here by this event for this event.
okay.
We run typical straight splatter stick antennas on it.
Because I'm running on mine right now. I'll show you. That's what I got on my 50 footer.
Okay.
That's huge.
We do have a couple of Yagi antennas we can throw up if we have to, but when we're set up for emergency situations. We're not trying to talk to the world.
Right.
We do also
Thank
carry.
you.
Yeah, no problem. We do also carry a Codan HF system that operates on the Shares network, which the Shares network is the Federal Emergency HF network. Really nice setup. It's ALE capable, so I can get on the air, and if I'm trying to call the State Emergency Operations Center in Tallahassee, and I don't know what the band conditions are, I can just click the mic and the radio will go through the bands and pick the best one, and it will talk back and forth with the radio I'm trying to talk to, and when it finds the best band, it'll tell that radio, hey, go to 20 meter, go to 40 meter, go to 10 meter, and it'll automatically switch them to that.
Sweet.
Or I can go in manually. We can go in manually and set up also. So we do have some HF capability also.
You got some microwave on there. I see a little parabola.
That's all Hamcation stuff.
Okay.
One of the things we are working on trying to get set with all the MARC units is we are working on trying to get data capability either through like Starlink or something like that. Because if we had data capability, then we have the ability to link into like JPS systems, and I could put a radio on the air in Okeechobee, link it in to JPS, and you guys could be sitting in Dade City and talk to us or hear us, because it would become VoIP at that point.
Now, do you have ham radio capability on the MARC?
Only when I'm on it.
Okay.
Ham radio is not amateur radio is not a requirement to be on the unit.
Okay.
We're trying to encourage that.
Yeah. I was going to say, you can take some of the itinerant channels that are set up or available in Florida. Like we've got the red repeater and the blue repeater, which are on temporary itinerant frequencies.
Right.
And you could have those set up to be able to be used where they need to be used.
Now I'll tell you where it has come in handy. When we went to Hurricane Idalia, I just happened to be talking to the structural engineer for the search and rescue team, and found out that he was a ham radio operator also. And so I told him, I said, hey, listen, in the off chance, I'll be monitoring SARNet.
Yeah.
And they got to their search location, and all comms dropped out. They had nothing. But we were close enough to the Live Oak SAR repeater that he was able to get into it with an HT. And so I'm sitting there doing, we have a support trailer that goes with this, also a 25-foot box trailer that's got all kinds of stuff. I'm sitting there at the work desk, and all of a sudden my radio goes off. Hey, Task Force 4 to Mark 5, we've lost all comms. So for about 3 hours, we were actually using SARNet to track the USAR team, and we did nothing more than just use it as a periodic safety check. Hey, are you guys okay? Do you need anything? But what was funny was they had already shut the net down at that point, because we were in blue skies at that point, so they had already shut the net down. Well, when we came up and they heard that, the Levy County EOC was still up, so they came up on the air, said, hey, we hear what's going on, we'll stand by and monitor with you in case you need relay or something happens. Dad actually came up on the air and helped with radio oversight.
Nice.
And then I got a call on the radio from the state EOC, State Emergency Operations Center. And they're like, hey, what's going on? Because they had left the room, they were doing something else. So I told them, I said, we've got a USAR team out doing a search. They've lost all communications, so we're using, they actually offered to put SARNet back under net control and lock SARNet down again so that we could use it exclusively. And I told him, I said, no. I said, as long as people kind of give us a little bit of leeway when we're trying to do what we're trying to do, we're only using it for well-being checks at the moment. So now if something happens, if they get into something heavy, then yeah, I'll let you know and maybe we'll lock it back down, but for right now, leave it open. But the state EOC was going to lock SARNet back down. So we're encouraging our guys. Mark IV out of Hillsborough County, in fact, he'll be here if he's not here already. One of their operators is a ham radio operator. Mark VI out of South Florida. One of their radio operators, or one of their guys, is a ham radio operator. And we'll use amateur a lot of times to back channel so that we can talk to each other without having to get on this and tie this up. But that's it. That's her. That's our girl.
That's nice. So nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
We need to bring that out to field day.
The closest one to us would be Hillsborough counties. So you would get Mark IV.
We just have to convince them somehow that they needed to do a communications exercise.
I tell you, I was just saying, I tell you how you convince them is you call them and you go, hey, we'd like to have a Mark unit here, and you guys can use it as a comms exercise. And what would probably end up happening is you would probably get Josh from Hillsborough County and me.
Okay.
You'd probably get the two of us would be the ones that would come out with it. They may bring it up, they may not bring it up, who knows? But it doesn't hurt to ask.
That would be sweet, wouldn't it? Well, it's good training for everybody. It is good training for everybody.
Yeah, but it's a cool.
Especially if you ever needed us to work along with you in any way.
Especially after the incident where I had to use SARNet, I am trying to convince the powers that be that when we roll on an event, that we need an Oxcom person with us. I'm trying to get them to start sending an Oxcom operator with us on these events, so that, because if there'd have been real busy stuff going on, I would not have had time to monitor SARNet. I mean, I would have made time because it was a safety issue, but if we'd have had an Oxcom operator, I could have said, hey man, here, monitor SARNet. This is all you. I've got to go do this. So.
Nice. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Very nice.
What's inside the door? Can we take a peek?
I wish we could, but I don't have the keys to the door. The guys